The inaugural session of American President Donald Trump's Board of Peace has concluded, and it was marked by frequent self-praise, abrupt shifts in topics, and digs at the leaders who were gathered there. He moved from touting his role in ending wars to taking attendance of global leaders. In fact, he even asked them to raise their hands or stand, and joked when he fumbled their names. During his speech, Trump touted his endorsements of foreign leaders as well.
Whereas President Millet, I endorsed him. I'm not supposed to be endorsing people, but I endorse, when I like people, I've had a very good record of endorsing candidates within the United States. But now I endorse foreign leaders, including Viktor Orban, who's here, and others. And I endorse this gentleman, Millet. He was a little behind in the polls. He ended up winning in a landslide. I just endorsed the Prime Minister of Japan. She was in a tight race, but was probably going to win, and she won in the largest number in the history of Japan. So she likes me a lot.
Amid all of this, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif had an awkward moment. Here's what happened. Donald Trump asked him to rise while boasting about his so-called mediation skills, and in response, Shehbaz Sharif lauded the American president as a man of peace and savior of South Asia.
Your timely and very effective intervention to achieve ceasefire between India and Pakistan potentially averted loss of tens of millions of people. You have truly proved to be a man of peace. And let me say, Mr. President, you are truly savior of South Asia.
Later, speaking with supporters in Georgia, Donald Trump mocked French President Emmanuel Macron as well, as he recounted an earlier conversation with him. The U.S. president claimed that he had pressured Macron into raising drug prices by threatening a 100% tariff on French wine and champagne. If he did not comply, Trump said that Macron eventually agreed, portraying the encounter as a show of his influence over foreign leaders.
I said, Emmanuel, you're going to have to lift your price by double or triple. No way, I will not do that, Donald. Why would I do that? I would be out of business. I said, no, you're going to do it 100%. No, I will not do that. I will not do that. Yes, you will. You're going to do it. And he said, no. I said, here's the story. If you don't do it, I'm going to put a 100% tariff on all of the wine and champagne that you sell into the United States. And you know what he said? I will do it. I will gladly do it.
The American president has long employed a good cop, bad cop approach in foreign relations, moving between flattery and pressure, depending upon his own objectives. And joining us live from Washington, D.C. is Adel Nazarian, who is a senior media fellow at the Gold Institute for International Strategy, joining us, of course, to decode what exactly Donald Trump's speech meant. Adel, good evening. Welcome to WION. I want to start by asking you not what Donald Trump did there on stage while he roll-called global leaders, but my question is, why weren't these global leaders stopping him? Why weren't they saying that, look, you can't do that?
Great to be on with you. Good morning from Washington, D.C. Honestly, yes, he can. He's President Donald Trump, and that was very entertaining. But that's just it, right? That's who he's been from the start, and that's why he's off the cuff, nature, playful but informal, sometimes bordering mockery. That's just who he is, and he's not going to change. That's why this presidency is so characterized by a unique set of, values and characters, but that's not the way it's going to be going forward. Obviously, there's going to be a change in presidency 2028, all that stuff. What I think is interesting here, though, is as much as the media likes to chastise him and focus more on his the jokes and the mockery, whatever it may be, President Trump, I think, is achieving his goal here. He's distracting everyone in the media with his playful words and the jokes that he's cutting, and actually behind the scenes getting things done tangibly. I mean, this is a historic meeting. I know every nation wasn't present. Some the majority of nations actually, if you notice, I'm sure you did, you're wonderful at what you do, that the majority of these nations actually have a Muslim majority population. and they are very much decision makers and key stakeholders in Gaza and what happens there in terms of negotiating the relations there. So he's distracting everyone in the media, intentionally probably, and making tangible things happen towards his vision for trustfully rebuilding Gaza. And you see the nations that were present: Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Armenia, Bahrain, Egypt, Israel, Jordan, Kosovo, Kuwait, Morocco, Mongolia, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, the UAE. So El Salvador as well, Hungary, but just to name a few. But this is, long story short, is if he's able to, with the support of the nations that were present and pledge their support, actually rebuild Gaza. It's been decimated. And so the Gazan people obviously deserve a better way of living. So if he can do that, and they can therefore have a good way of having peace, why not?
You know, Adele, it's easy to call out the media on putting and hyping up Donald Trump's statements, but we didn't ask for it. He's just giving it to us on a platter.
I know.
But besides that, Adele, the point is that this entire board of peace that has been focusing on the reconstruction of Gaza has one contentious point, and that is the disarmament of Hamas. Despite the fact that global leaders have come together and they've pledged money as well as troops on ground, that cannot happen without the disarmament of Hamas, and we don't have any surety, any agreement from their side at the moment, despite the fact that Donald Trump, the US president, has been saying that they will do so.
So you're absolutely correct. And the just to address it, and I'm a media person myself. I was a journalist for 20 years. So it's amazing headlines. So you have to thank him for it. Regarding the disarmament of Hamas, absolutely, without a doubt, there will be no peace in Gaza and a lot of the region, frankly, if Hamas is not disarmed. So there's no guarantee yet, but I am hopeful that there will be, actions taken to ensure that Hamas does disarm itself there. And if it doesn't do so, I am certain that there will be consequences. I mean, if you look at the number of nations that are there that have, a stake, they're stakeholders literally in that part of the world, in the Middle East, between Gaza and Israel. I think there can be pressure placed not only from America, but also from the allied nations to ensure that Hamas does disarm itself, because it really doesn't benefit anyone when they are active and carrying out what they're doing. It doesn't help anyone.
Yeah, so let's wait and watch when that happens and if that happens. But I'll leave it there. Adele, thanks very much for joining us on WION and sharing your perspective.